Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the boy GhostGG, and today we're reacting to some Kurzgesagt once again. But this is how the dinosaurs actually died. I used to be obsessed with dinosaurs as a kid. I think every kid was obsessed with dinosaurs in some shape or form. I love dinosaurs. I haven't really thought about dinosaurs in the most recent years of my life, but as soon as I saw this video, I'm like, oh, you know what? I'm going to react to this because all I know is that a meteor took out the dinosaurs, but I don't know the specifics. So let's get right into it.
A ruthless murder was committed. Someone killed the dinosaurs, and we have the murderer.
Oh no.
Witnesses say that an Everest-sized asteroid hit Earth, devastated the planet, and caused a mass extinction.
Yeah, that's what I know.
A simple, fascinating, and convincing explanation.
Oh.
Or is it?
They lied. Someone else did it.
In the last few years, new evidence has reinvigorated an older theory pointing at a second suspect. A very slow and liquid asteroid 1,000 times bigger hitting Earth on the opposite side of the planet.
Oh.
Like the true crime channel we are, let's look at the new evidence and tell a different story that could change everything we thought we knew. The last days of a kingdom.
Tell me, baby.
66 million years ago, Earth was barely recognizable. It was the last days of the Cretaceous, one of the hottest periods in Earth's history, and much more humid. Lush jungles and woodlands covered much of the planet. Even the polar regions were home to forests of prehistoric pines and ferns. Amazing ecosystems that were robust enough to survive the many months of darkness during the polar night. Oversized animals were everywhere.
Yeah, that's a big thing.
Dinosaurs filled the skies. Marine lizards.
Whenever I think about the Cretaceous period, obviously dinosaurs, but everything was bigger. Like, think of the animals that we have now, but just bigger. Like big ass mosquitoes, big ass fucking not dogs, because dogs kind of started existing later on, but like, you know, they're like descendants of like wolves and then like saber tooths and all that shit, right? Like there's obviously a line, but like that kind of family. Just think of all the animals we have now, but they're just bigger. That shit freaks me out. Big snakes, big sharks, stuff like that.
And on land, basically everything larger than 1 meter was a
alligators,
dinosaur, one of the most successful animals ever to walk Earth, dominating the world for more than 150 million years. And then they were murdered. All these majestic creatures vanished in a split second of geological time. Why? Yes, it is true that around that time a big asteroid hit Earth. But was this actually what killed the dinosaurs? Or did it arrive just in time to get all the blame? Because according to some recent science, just before the asteroid struck, an ancient nightmare, older than even the dinosaurs, decided to destroy the world. Let's look at how it might have done it. The beast slowly awakens.
Oh man, it's cool.
The ancient continents almost resembled the world of today, but not quite. India was still a continent-sized tropical island full of lush rainforests and exotic life on its way to smash into Asia.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that.
This paradise also hosted something else. The Deccan Traps, a volcanic region 1,000 kilometers wide and about to come to life in a dramatic fashion. The apocalypse began quietly and silently. About 800,000 years before the impact, the Deccan Traps began to exhale about 10 million tons of CO2 and sulfur dioxide each year.
Damn, that's a lot.
Which in the grand scheme of things was not that much,
so
for a long time
that sounds like a lot.
Noticed. The problem was, these emissions wouldn't stop.
Maybe it was a lot in a short period of time.
They started to dangerously pile up in the atmosphere. About 300,000 years before the asteroid, the Deccan Traps started to vomit lava. This was nothing like a normal eruption. It was a lava flood. Imagine a landscape with volcanoes stretching beyond the horizon. They were constantly active, releasing a steady flow of massive amounts of poison and lava, interrupted by much more violent and deadly eruptions. The lush paradise of India was the first victim, as gigantic clouds spread toxic fumes and poisoned the coastal regions. Clouds of ash darkened the sky as rivers of magma started massive wildfires, eradicating many local ecosystems and paving the continent with dead dinosaurs. Still at this point, it all looked like a local catastrophe, one of many that have hit our planet over its billions of years of history. Had it stopped here, there might still be dinosaurs today. But the nightmare hadn't even begun yet.
Did India
The
eventually
beast
collide with the
turns
bigger
furious.
continent and then
The
spread?
Deccan traps would just not stop spewing lava. And so, after hundreds of thousands of years of never-ending volcanic emissions, the catastrophe became global. First, the planet experienced a wave of heating, with oceans getting at least 2 degrees Celsius hotter in just 100,000 years. Which is bad, but just about the time frame that leaves ecosystems a chance to adapt. But then, nature would pull a cruel prank. Some of the gases of the Deccan traps heated the planet up, while others cooled it down. But the mix was uneven, so after the initial warming, a period of cooling followed, massively stressing the ecosystems that barely managed to adapt to the hotter temperatures.
That's
At the
unfortunate.
same time, the sulfur in the atmosphere came back down as acid rain, while the CO2 was acidifying the oceans and killing the plankton, which was, and still is today, the basis of the food
It's like
web in
everything
the
that could
oceans.
go wrong in the
And
environment
if
just goes
plankton
wrong.
disappears, a massive extinction is all but guaranteed. But now, the grand finale was about to begin. About 50,000 years before impact, the true apocalypse came. Like a cosmic horror breaking out of its prison, the Deccan traps roared and screamed and began to spew out tens of trillions of tons of magma and even more deadly gases in an onslaught that lasted for several thousand years, rolling over ecosystems, devastating everything they reached.
Ah, damn.
For a time as long as all of human civilization, this lava Armageddon brought massive wildfires. Earthquakes and tsunamis smashed and shook the continent. So much heat was released from the roaring hot interior of our planet that it might have created hypercanes, cyclones tens of kilometers wide with winds reaching almost 1,000 kilometers an hour.
Damn.
3 times more than the deadliest hurricane ever recorded by humanity.
Shit.
These storms were so massive and intense that they could reach tens of kilometers into the stratosphere and rip holes into the ozone layer, with devastating consequences for all life now without protection from the sun's radiation.
Oh, fuck.
And of course, where the hyperstorms occurred, devastation and death would follow. And as if all this wasn't enough, out of the guts of the Earth came colossal amounts of venom. Giant clouds loaded with mercury and hydrochloric acid rolled over the planet, delivering the final blow to the remnants of a once magnificent and fertile world. As food chains crumbled and the whole world around them collapsed, some of the last dinosaurs to ever walk the Earth may have died vomiting toxic foam while being bathed in acid rain. A cruel end for the members of a noble family that had ruled the world for so long. Then it just ended. The frenetic eruptions slowed down and the endless natural disasters began to fade away. But the world was changed forever. The monster had left unfathomable devastation and corpses in its wake. Even the planet's ecosystems far away were severely wounded. It was the end of a whole geological era, a murder that started slowly and then turned loud and violent. And then it happened. Like a cosmic joke, on the other side of the world, a bright dot of light appeared in the sky. And an instant later, an asteroid 10 kilometers across smashed into Earth with the power of 4 billion atomic bombs. If you want to see what this was like, we made a whole video about it.
Oh, really?
If life on Earth was like a murder victim barely holding on, this was the final blow. Just too much. After the massacre on the other side of the world, the Deccan traps went on expelling tens of trillions of tons of deadly gases for another 800,000 years, making sure the devastated planet stayed covered in poison. When they eventually finished and truly went back to sleep, 75% of all species on Earth had perished.
Wow.
Most famously, almost all dinosaurs, except birds, the only dinos that are still with us today. Their stunning beauty and diversity are a shy reminder of how majestic and wonderful their larger cousins must have been. So, who was the murderer? Were the dinosaurs doomed by the traps, or would they have survived without the asteroid? Was it teamwork? Well, we don't know. Scientists have been fiercely debating this question for years, but for now we have no definite answer. The timeline of events that we've shown here is based on some of the most recent reconstructions of the evolution of the Deccan traps. There are other ones that paint a different picture, but right now, scientists are still fiercely arguing over this. Check our sources to learn more. So, like much of true crime, we can't end this story with an easy and satisfying resolution. Time has the nasty habit of erasing evidence, so maybe we'll never really know. But there
sucks.
is something else hidden in the dust, something truly terrifying. As we learn more and more about the past, we found that at least 4 of the 5 big mass extinctions happened at the same time as the Earth was furiously spewing gargantuan amounts of magma. The monster that might have killed the dinosaurs seems to be a serial killer. The worst massacre ever, the Permian mass extinction 250 million years ago, was caused by the Siberian traps, a hellish flood of lava that killed 95% of all the species on Earth.
So lava seems to be the main suspect
Until
here.
recently, many scientists thought that this was an outlier, but new evidence suggests it may have been the rule. Other big mass extinctions happened when the monster awoke from its sleep, and the longer and more violently it rampaged, the more slaughter we can see in the fossil record. So maybe the dinosaurs were not massacred by a casual murderer from outer space, but by a serial killer hiding beneath our feet. Do you need to worry about all of this? Definitely not.
Oh, okay.
While the monster is real, it's amazingly slow and currently very sleepy. If it were about to awaken again, scientists monitoring the Earth's interior would get a warning really early, maybe even millions of years in advance. Time enough to prepare and move out of the way. Enough about mysteries of the past, and on to puzzles in the present.
Alright, so there we have it. Who really killed the dinosaurs? And honestly, the Deccan traps look like the best suspect, especially since the last 3 extinctions before the Cretaceous period seem to be all lava related, just pools of lava flooding the land and destroying whatever species occupying at that time. So that's probably like the most likely possibility, right? But for so long, we have been told that the asteroid took out the dinosaurs, and now I guess they're revisiting the theory of the Deccan traps. Cause I didn't even know that was a theory in the first place. So I'm not gonna pretend like I know anything here. But I didn't even know that was a possibility or even a theory that was discussed among scientists, that these traps of lava eventually just spewed out and destroyed everything with a flood of lava and toxic gas and whatnot. That's very interesting. I would love to research that a little bit more, actually, because it changes our understanding of what happened then, or at least our suspected understanding of it, because we don't know 100%. Unless you have a time machine, you won't know really, unless you can like look back 65 million years ago. But it's so interesting thinking of the world from when it first started to the different periods it went through, just thinking of how it would look like. I mean, we have science to kind of help us understand what it would look like, what species would be occupying at the time, but actually to visualize it is something I wish was possible. Just looking back in time and seeing how things were. That'd be so cool. But yeah, there we have it. That is the reaction for Kurzgesagt, how the dinosaurs actually died. Original video will be linked down in the description, so go check it out. Peace out.